Hello, knowledge seekers. In this episode of 20-Minute Books, we are exploring the world of habit formation through James Clear's book, Atomic Habits. Atomic Habits offers a comprehensive guide to overcoming bad habits and adopting good ones. It provides an enlightening look into the science of tiny changes and how they can spark major transformation in our lives. Clear, an acclaimed author and entrepreneur, uses this book to delve into the intricacies of human behavior, explaining how habits work and how they can be harnessed for self-improvement. His expertise, backed by extensive research, has culminated into this practical and insightful book. With his ideas being welcomed by hundreds of thousands via his weekly newsletters, Clear's work is a beacon for those looking for change. This book is a must-read for anyone seeking to establish productive habits or break free from the ones holding them back. It offers a rich understanding of why we behave the way we do and how we can turn this behavior into success. So, whether you are a go-getter aiming to accomplish even more, or simply someone who yearns to understand and improve their habits, Atomic Habits is for you. Join us as we delve into this life-changing book in just 20 minutes. Atomic Habits, an easy and proven way to build good habits and break bad ones. Introduction. Dive into the power of miniaturized transformation, how small habits can create massive life changes. Have you ever pondered over changes you'd love to implement in your life? Perhaps you've dreamt of nurturing healthier eating habits or wish to be the person who devours books, maybe mastering a foreign language or serenading the world with melodious clarinet notes is what calls out to your soul. Any change, big or small, that you yearn to see in yourself is far easier to envision than to actually realize. Declaring your wish to consume more greens doesn't automatically transform your diet. Expressing the desire to read more doesn't necessarily mean you'd forego binge-watching your favorite series for an intensive read of War and Peace. But have you considered the power of habit? In this deep dive, we are going to unravel the groundbreaking insights from James Clear's chartbuster, Atomic Habits. Embark on this enlightening journey with me as we explore that radical transformations in life don't always require radical actions. You don't have to reconstruct your entire lifestyle or undergo a personality overhaul. It's the minuscule changes in your daily behavior, changes so small they're almost invisible, that, when repeated day after day, evolve into habits. These habits, as subtle as they may seem, can fuel extraordinary results, redefining the course of your life. Part 1. The Power of the Petite. Unraveling the surprising impact of minute habits on our lives. Imagine boarding a flight from Los Angeles, bound for the bustling metropolis of New York City. The pilot, as per standard procedures, has entered all the necessary details into the plane's computer. The flight path is set, the direction is correct, and the plane ascends smoothly into the sky. However, imagine that shortly after takeoff, an inadvertent adjustment occurs, shifting the flight path by a measly 3.5 degrees. It's a minor deviation, barely perceptible. It merely causes the plane's nose to tilt slightly. Neither the passengers nor the pilot detect any change. Yet, as the journey across the vast United States unfolds, this slight shift begins to weave its profound impact. Instead of touching down in New York City as planned, the passengers and the startled pilot find themselves disembarking in Washington, D.C. This tale has a simple yet potent message. Similar to the unsuspecting pilot in our story, we often overlook the tiny alterations in our lives. Minor changes barely cause a ripple in the immediate scheme of things. If you're not in the best shape and decide to jog for 20 minutes today, you won't magically transform into a fitness model by tomorrow. And if you binge on an extra-large pizza tonight, you won't balloon into obesity overnight. However, these minuscule behaviors, when repeated daily, become choices that compound into significant results. Relishing that pizza every single day could eventually lead you to tip the scale significantly a year down the line. Consistent 20-minute jogging sessions will gradually sculpt you into a fitter version of yourself. The changes might be subtle, but they're steady. The fundamental takeaway here is that minor habits wield tremendous power over our lives, even though their impact may not be immediately evident. The true results of your habits become visible only over time. We get it. When positive transformations aren't instantly apparent, it's natural to feel disheartened. If you find yourself grappling with discouragement due to lack of immediate progress, try shifting your focus from your current results to your ongoing trajectory. Consider this. You might have a limited amount saved in your bank account, but you've started saving a little every month. The immediate outcome may not be impressive. Your savings might still look meager, but the direction you've embarked upon is undoubtedly right. Persist in this trajectory, and a few months or years later, you'll witness a remarkable improvement. Whenever the absence of perceivable progress clouds your spirit, remind yourself of the correct steps you're taking and the right direction you're headed in. So, the question arises, how do we set ourselves on the right trajectory? The secret lies in cultivating habits. Let's delve into understanding how to build these habits in the next section. Part 2. Unmasking habits. Learned automatic behaviors that pilot our lives. Whenever you step into a room swallowed by darkness, your hand intuitively gravitates towards the light switch. This instinctive behavior is a habit, an action repeated so many times that it has now become automated, a reflex we don't even consciously register. Such habits steer the course of our everyday lives, encompassing everything from the mundane act of brushing our teeth to the complex task of navigating a car. Their sway is undeniably profound. But how do these habits take root? Peel back the layers to the 19th century, where a psychologist named Edward Thorndike endeavored to unveil this mystery. His approach involved an experiment with cats and a dark box. As he timed how long it took for the felines to escape the box, he noticed their initial frantic reactions, clawing at the corners, sniffing the unfamiliar surroundings, desperate to break free. Over time, they would stumble upon a lever which, when pressed, would set them free. He then reinitiated the experiment with the same cats, placing them back inside the box. Interestingly, as the repetition increased, the cats learned the way out faster. No longer resorting to frantic searches, they quickly found the lever. After 20 or 30 such attempts, the average time dropped drastically to a mere 6 seconds. The act of escaping the box had transformed into a habit for these cats. Thorndike's experiment brought forth a vital revelation. Actions that yield satisfying outcomes, in this case the sweet taste of freedom, tend to be replicated until they evolve into an automatic response. Our understanding of habits has grown leaps and bounds since Thorndike's experiment. We've come to identify 4 key elements that constitute habits. Firstly, there's the cue, the trigger that initiates the action. For instance, stepping into a dark room acts as a cue that compels you to take action. Then you experience a craving, which is essentially a longing for change. In this context, a transition from darkness to light. This yearning prompts a response or an action, such as flipping the light switch. The final step and the ultimate goal of any habit is the reward. Here, the reward is the comforting sense of relief and visibility that bathes your surroundings once the room is lit. Every habit ingrained in us follows this very process. Take your morning coffee ritual, for example. The act of waking up serves as the cue, instigating a craving to shake off the drowsiness. The response? You haul yourself out of bed to brew that aromatic cup of coffee. And the reward? You're now wide awake, invigorated to face the challenges of the day ahead. Now that we've decrypted how habits work, let's explore how to cultivate good habits capable of bringing about a positive metamorphosis in your life. Part 3. Mastering the art of cultivating habits. Unmissable cues and definitive action plans. So far, we've unlocked the elements that constitute a habit, a cue that triggers action, a craving or desire to achieve something, a response which is the habit in action, and a reward, that gratifying outcome that satisfies the craving. Armed with this understanding, you can now tap into the essence of this process to infuse effective, productivity-enhancing habits into your life. Let's consider this scenario. You're determined to master the guitar. You've got your instrument, you've started learning the basics, but consistency seems to elude your practice sessions. Despite promising yourself every morning to get some practice done, the day sweeps past without you so much as touching the guitar. With your newfound knowledge of habit formation, you can now flip the situation. To ensure consistency in your practice, make the cue, the act of picking up your guitar, impossible to ignore. Don't hide the instrument in a cupboard or leave it in a deserted room. Instead, station it right in the heart of your living area, where it's always within sight. This unmissable cue will propel your desire to practice into a habitual routine. Manipulating your environment to place cues at the forefront is indeed effective. But what if there were a way to refine your triggers further? Enter implementation intentions. Often, when we aim to incorporate new habits, we're rather ambiguous about our intentions. We vaguely declare, "I will eat healthier," or "I will learn the guitar," merely hoping to see it through. Implementation intentions add clarity to these generic declarations, helping you to carve out a specific action plan. They detail exactly when and where you will carry out the habit you wish to instill. Let's apply this to the guitar situation. Instead of vaguely committing to practice guitar sometime this week, specify, "On Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, as soon as the alarm rings, I'll pick up my guitar and practice for 1 hour." And remember, the guitar should be in plain sight. Formulating such an implementation intention provides you with a clear plan and an unmistakable cue, making it significantly easier to weave a positive habit into your routine. Before we delve further, let's take a brief pause. Perhaps you're pondering, does this actually work? Can I genuinely modify my environment to nurture good habits? These concepts sound ideal in theory, but are they practical? To validate these notions, let's explore the research conducted by Boston-based Dr. Anne Thorndike. Just for the record, she's not related to Edward Thorndike of the cat experiment fame. Dr. Anne Thorndike was grappling with a challenge that many healthcare professionals face. She wished to guide her patients towards healthier eating habits. However, she realized that making a conscious decision to eat better is a daunting task that demands immense willpower and discipline, resources that not everyone is abundantly blessed with. So Dr. Thorndike and her team devised a simple yet effective experiment. They rearranged the hospital cafeteria, substituting sodas in the fridges near the cash registers with bottled water and positioning baskets of bottled water throughout the cafeteria. They then observed the impact of this small change. The result? Over a span of 3 months, soda sales dipped by 11%, while water sales skyrocketed by over 25%. By merely increasing the visibility of water, Dr. Thorndike and her colleagues nudged people towards a healthier choice. In essence, they were able to facilitate the formation of better habits, without necessitating a conscious decision from the individuals. These findings substantiate the power of altering one's environment in fostering healthier habits. Part 4. We are driven by the promise of reward. Hence, attractive habits can sustain our adherence to them. At the midpoint of our journey through atomic habits, we have unearthed the power of habits, how they are formed, and how we can optimize habit cues to our benefit. Now we'll turn our focus to the other end of the habit-building spectrum, rewards. In 1954, neuroscientists James Olds and Peter Milner embarked on a quest to unravel the neural mechanism behind desire. By blocking the neurotransmitter dopamine in rats via electrodes, they inadvertently stumbled upon an astounding revelation. Deprived of dopamine, the rats lost their will to live. Bereft of desire, they stopped eating or drinking, leading to their tragic death due to thirst within days. This grim experiment underscores one reality. Dopamine is the lifeblood of motivation. When we undertake activities that are conducive to our survival, such as eating, drinking, or reproduction, dopamine is released, eliciting a sense of pleasure. This pleasurable sensation propels us to repeat the beneficial action incessantly. But what does dopamine have to do with habit formation? Interestingly, the dopamine rush isn't exclusively tied to the performance of the pleasurable activity. Just the anticipation of engaging in something enjoyable is sufficient to trigger dopamine release. Hence, in the realm of the brain's reward system, longing for something is as rewarding as obtaining it. This innate characteristic can be leveraged to boost habit building. If we make a habit something we eagerly anticipate, we're likelier to follow through and actually execute it. Here's where I invite you to explore the principle of temptation bundling. This strategy involves pairing an important but dull behavior with a behavior you naturally find enticing. In essence, you are harnessing the power of dopamine to nurture new habits. Let's examine the story of Ronan Byrne, an Irish engineering student. Ronan was well aware of the importance of regular exercise but found working out far from enjoyable. However, he relished watching Netflix. So, Ronan ingeniously rigged an exercise bike to his laptop, creating a system where Netflix would only play if he maintained a certain cycling speed. By marrying exercise with an activity he naturally gravitated towards, he transformed an otherwise drab task into an enjoyable pursuit. Applying this principle doesn't necessitate the creation of intricate contraptions like Ronan's Netflix exercise bike. You can incorporate it into your life through simpler means. For instance, if you ought to exercise but you're more inclined towards reading the latest celebrity gossip, make a pact with yourself to only read gossip magazines while at the gym. Or if you're a sports enthusiast required to make sales calls, reward yourself with a half hour of ESPN after your 10th prospect. In essence, all you need to do is find an appealing spin for those important yet unexciting tasks. By doing so, you'll be riding a wave of dopamine, facilitating the creation of positive habits in the process. Part 5. To successfully establish a new habit, strive to make it as effortless to adopt as possible. While infusing pleasure into a habit enhances its stickiness, there's another method to streamline the habit-forming process. Make it effortless. Effortless actions dictate our lives. We find ourselves mindlessly scrolling through social media or devouring a packet of chips because it's easy. Conversely, challenging activities like completing 100 push-ups or learning Mandarin demand significant effort, thus they rarely figure in our leisure time. By making the behaviors we desire effortless, we can transform them into habits. Thankfully, there are myriad ways to achieve this. The first technique involves minimizing friction. Let's delve into this concept. James Clear chronically struggled with sending greeting cards. His wife, however, never missed an opportunity to dispatch a card. The secret behind her consistency was a well-stocked, organized box of greeting cards at home. This preemptive arrangement eliminated the need to rush out and purchase a card for every occasion, drastically reducing the friction involved in sending one. It's noteworthy that friction is a double-edged sword. While you can decrease friction to embed a beneficial behavior into a habit, you can also ramp it up to weed out a bad habit. For instance, if you wish to reduce your TV time, unplug the TV and remove the batteries from the remote. By creating this barrier, you will only end up watching TV when your desire truly outweighs the friction. So much for friction. The second strategy to simplify a habit over the long run is what's referred to as the 2-minute rule. This tactic converts any new activity into a manageable task. Essentially, this rule states that any behavior can be simplified into a 2-minute habit. So, if you wish to read more, don't set out to finish a book every week. Rather, form a habit of reading 2 pages every night. Or, if your goal is to run a marathon, commit to just getting into your running gear every day after work. The 2-minute rule helps form easily achievable habits, minor victories that can pave the way for bigger achievements. Once you've donned your running shoes, chances are you'll go for a run. Once you've read 2 pages, you might continue. Getting started is, after all, the most crucial step towards accomplishing any task. Part 6. Ensuring your habits offer immediate satisfaction is crucial for successful behavior modification. As we approach the end of our exploration, let's unpack the final rule of effectively harnessing habits for self-improvement. For this, we will be transported to the world of public health researcher Stephen Luby. In the 1990s, Luby worked in a district of Karachi, Pakistan, where he profoundly excelled at his job. Astoundingly, he managed to cut down diarrhea rates among the local children by a staggering 52%, pneumonia rates by 48%, and skin infections by 35%. And the secret weapon in his health-improving arsenal? Luxurious soap. Yes, the monumental public health breakthroughs that Luby achieved were precipitated by top-notch soap. Luby recognized that hand-washing and basic sanitation were pivotal to mitigating diseases. While the locals were privy to this fact, they hadn't incorporated it into a habit. The game-changer was Luby's collaboration with Procter & Gamble to distribute premium soap to the locals for free. With its pleasant lather and alluring scent, hand-washing transformed into an enjoyable experience, turning it into a prevalent habit. Stephen Luby's narrative underscores the final and most pivotal rule for behavioral change. Habits need to be satisfying. However, rendering beneficial behaviors satisfying can pose a challenge, mainly due to human evolution. Presently, we exist in a delayed return environment. You report to work daily, but the payoff, a paycheck, only arrives at the end of the month. You hit the gym in the morning, but the weight loss isn't instantaneous. Our brains, regrettably, evolved to thrive in an immediate return environment. Our prehistoric ancestors weren't concerned with long-term gains like saving for retirement or adhering to a diet. They were preoccupied with immediate necessities like securing their next meal, finding shelter, and staying alert to evade potential saber-toothed tiger attacks. This fixation on immediate rewards tends to nurture detrimental habits. Smoking might cause lung cancer in 2 decades, but it provides instant stress relief and satiates the nicotine craving. The immediate relief provided by a cigarette often triumphs over the long-term health implications. Therefore, when fostering habits with delayed outcomes, strive to associate some immediate gratification with them. To exemplify this, let's examine the journey of a couple the author knows. The couple aimed to eat out less, cook more, improve their health, and save money. These goals encompass delayed returns. To incorporate some immediate gratification, they set up a savings account named Trip to Europe. Each time they skipped eating out, they transferred $50 into the account. The immediate satisfaction derived from watching $50 land into their savings account provided the immediate gratification they required to maintain their pursuit of the ultimate long-term reward. Part 7. Establishing a structural framework can help maintain your habits, with techniques such as trackers and contracts. We've now learnt the nuts and bolts of crafting great habits. However, regardless of how enjoyable and fulfilling we render our habits, adhering to them can still be challenging. So in this final segment, let's unravel how we can stay true to our positive intentions. A straightforward and efficient technique to help new habits gain traction is habit tracking. This practice has been the cornerstone of success for many through the ages. The most illustrious example is Benjamin Franklin. From the tender age of 20, Franklin maintained a journal where he chronicled his adherence to 13 personal virtues. These virtues encompassed objectives such as steering clear of frivolous conversations and always partaking in useful activities. Every night, Franklin would document his progress in each domain. In Franklin's footsteps, you can employ a basic calendar or diary for habit tracking. Simply cross off each day you successfully practice your chosen behaviors. This technique is highly effective because habit tracking is inherently an appealing and satisfying habit. The anticipation and action of striking off each successful day will provide a sense of accomplishment and keep your motivation levels high. Next, consider developing a habit contract that enforces detrimental repercussions if you falter on your commitments. The story of Brian Harris, an entrepreneur from Nashville, serves as an apt illustration. In a contract signed by him, his wife, and his personal trainer, Harris pledged to reduce his weight down to 200 pounds. He pinpointed specific habits that would facilitate his weight loss journey, including daily tracking of food intake and weekly weigh-ins. He then instated penalties for non-compliance. A failure to record food consumption would cost him $100 payable to his trainer. A missed weigh-in would result in a $500 debt to his wife. The strategy proved efficacious, driven not only by his fear of monetary loss, but also the fear of disappointing two significant people in his life. After all, humans are social beings, and the perceptions of others matter to us. The mere knowledge that someone is monitoring you can serve as a potent motivator for success. Why not adopt a habit contract for yourself? It need not be as elaborate as Brian Harris's. A commitment to your partner, a trusted friend, or a colleague would suffice. If you settle on a set of repercussions for failing to follow through, you will be significantly more driven to adhere to your habits. And as we've discovered, consistency in a positive habit, no matter how minor, can be a catalyst for substantial achievements in life. Final summary. A minor modification in your behavior won't instantaneously transform your life. However, convert that behavior into a daily habit, and it can indisputably yield significant changes. Life-altering improvements are not about drastic breakthroughs or overhauling your entire lifestyle. Instead, it's about constructing a positive network of habits that collectively yield exceptional outcomes. Before we conclude, here's one last piece of advice. Embrace habit stacking to incorporate new behaviors. If you aim to establish a new habit, consider integrating it with an existing habit. For instance, if you wish to initiate meditation but can't seem to find the time, think about those activities that you perform effortlessly each day, like savoring your morning coffee. Then simply stack the new habit on top. Pledge to meditate every morning once you've relished your coffee and leverage the natural momentum of an existing habit. Thank you for joining me today on this journey of learning and discovery as we explored the insights of another thought-provoking book in our growing library of knowledge. If you've enjoyed our time together, please take a moment to follow our podcast, give us a 5-star rating, and share 20-minute books with other knowledge seekers. Your support truly means a lot. Don't forget to join me again in the next episode, where we will delve into another enriching book. Until then, happy reading and happy listening.